Hey guys, what's up? This is Karyna.
And our Pebbles.
And this is Divine Connections. Today, before we start our episode, we do want to give a shout out to Bugsy Arte. He gifted us our first piece of art.
Thank you.
For the podcast as a gift. So we want to show you guys that today. This is handmade art by him. And you know, it just felt good that somebody acknowledged us and gifted us something. So thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate all gifts.
Make sure you give him a follow.
Yeah, go ahead and follow after Bugsy on Instagram.
Super sick.
Today we are here at Trusted Tattoo Company in Corona, and we have a very special guest with us.
Hello, my name's JOEY CHAVEZ.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
A little bit about myself. Well, I'm a tattoo artist. I've been a tattoo artist about 22 years. I've always been an artist though. Growing up, I've always done creative things, and I always knew I was going to be an artist. Didn't know what kind of artist, but tattooing it always was kind of it always kind of came to me. It was always something.
Can you recall an age where you can say that, damn, this is for me?
You know what? It's a trip because I even early in my career, I wasn't 100% sure that I was all in. I was always like, okay, this is cool, but I always wanted to be an illustrator. I always wanted to draw comic books. Like that was like my thing. And then honestly, how old was I? I was probably like 20 when I realized like, yeah, you know, comic books isn't where it's at. I'm a people person. I like talking to people. I like working with people. And I think tattooing, it's perfect for that because I'm an artist, but I also like dealing with people. And I find that tattooing, you have these connections with people. You know, you get these connections where you get to know people a lot more. And honestly, I find that I get inspired, and I feel like I can inspire them too, which is awesome.
Can you recall a time when you were small, since you were interested in art for so long before tattooing? Can you recall how young you were when you started drawing, when you were interested in his art?
So I've always drawn. Honestly, I can't even remember when I haven't drawn. My mom was, you know, bless her heart, is great enough to like have a bunch of my old stuff when I was like in kindergarten.
Oh, it's cool.
So I was always drawing something, always doing something. I like to be creative, so I was always kind of like a troublemaking kid because I was always kind of like the head in the clouds, doing this, doing that. If we're over here, everybody's doing this, I'm over here jumping off of something or you know something crazy.
Does your creative mind trying to explore?
Yeah, I think they call it ADHD now. Oh, to be honest, yeah, there is that. Back in the day, they didn't. It's just I was just abrupt, you know.
We were just for kids. Just kind of ate a lot of sugar. The hyper adult would think. So who gave them soda?
Exactly. Yo, yeah, don't do it.
They didn't know soda back then was.
Going into that question, I just wanted to give the audience a little bit, like, what was it like growing up for you, Joey? Like, what was your childhood like, early childhood?
Oh, man. Honestly, I was blessed. You know, I was blessed. I had a real, you know, I'm Mexican-American, real strong Mexican-American values. So I had a lot of love in the house. You know, my grandma, my grandfather, my mother, father were always there for me. Thank God. My dad did 30 years in Marine Corps, though. So I lived in a lot of different places. So I grew up in like Japan, Okinawa, Japan, Hawaii, Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii, and then Tustin, El Toro, all over Cali. And so my upbringing was a little different because I don't really have like a lot of super tight connections with people I had when I was younger because honestly, I don't remember. But I'm so good at meeting people and talking to people and dealing with people because of that lifestyle. I think it just kind of naturally brings me into tattooing because again, I meet so many people all the time. So I'm really relatable to people. Honestly, it's kind of weird sometimes where like if I hang out with somebody long enough, I start talking like them, like I'll develop their accent or it's fucking weird. I don't know, it's like a survival mechanism that was built up from that. Yeah, but it's like it automatically does that. So
I think that's also the form of, that's probably why you like tattooing, because with tattooing in itself, I feel that you have to make your client comfortable, so that in itself makes the client comfortable.
Absolutely. I think that's to have that natural ability, to talk to people, you know, to have that natural ability to make someone feel welcome and
Like, hey, I'm gonna hurt you. It's okay.
just gonna sting a little.
I always tell him, he's acting. I'm like, if it hurts you more than it hurts me, I'm gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. I'm gonna be fine. We're here.
So you grew up with a Marine Corps background, and I know your dad originated from East Los. For everyone that doesn't know, this is my cousin. We are related. So we come from I don't know each other. We come from a long background of Mexican American. So it was our grandmas that came. Their parents came Their dad came from Mexico, right? Went into Watts. There was like 16, 17 of them back in the days when it was like normal for women to. There are so many children. God bless them. God bless those women because they didn't have epidural in those days. So we come from like a big, like they have like such a big family. So 16 siblings. And then my grandma was Loli and your grandma was Cruz.
Yeah, man, you might be related to me. Look.
And then their last names are Luvano. So it goes back to so much history like that. And then how I knew he was my cousin, because me, double brought that. How long did I know he was my cousin? Was we used to go over to, like, just a quick little story time. We used to go over to his family party. So like they were all from the military, your dad and your mom, right? So they had like a really, yeah, his mom as well. So they had like a really nice house, you know, and they had like this pool with like rocks and it would look all fancy. And I would be like, oh yeah, I'm going. One day my grandma let me inside and I was all curious. I'm like, I'm gonna go around, just look around. Like, they had a nice house. We're like, get down here. What are you doing, you little bad Mexican kid? Stop running around there, you nosy. And I would just be like, oh my God, like they have such a nice house. And I remember your family making us feel so like welcome. Like, their barbecues and their family gatherings were always so like, everyone was laughing and I never wanted to get out the pool. I was all free. Yeah, it was like always a like family environment. So I think that that's something that really connects deep with you too, cuz, and how you get to connect with people, you know what I mean? Because you come from people that like are loving and like gatherers, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, I tell people I try to lead from a place of like unconditional love because I've had so much of that my whole life, you know? So I try to bring that out. So I always tell people, like, I give you the benefit of the doubt, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to give you love and respect and all that until you earn otherwise. You know what I'm saying? Like, it not that it's like, okay, cool. And you know, my big thing is I know how important it is to have these connections and to talk to people and do things. So it's like, if you do something wrong to me or whatever, you know, you little crooked, like, I don't really care. It's just, it is what it is. Shit happens, but I just remove myself from that situation. You know, then it's like, okay, so I do earn that.
You know your value.
I know my value, so I know that you don't earn this. You can't earn what I've tried to give, so that's fine. I'm just gonna go over here now, and that's totally okay because I want to be around people that, again, are the same way.
And set healthy boundaries.
Yeah, also, boundaries are awesome. They're great. People who can't accept them don't understand boundaries.
Yeah, and I mean, the cool thing, like the shop's called Trusted Tattoo, you know, and I really try to embody the name of Trusted Tattoo Company, Trusted Tattoo Gallery. Absolutely, you know, so everything we do, you could trust in the work, you could trust in our professionalism, you could trust in our quality, all that stuff. So that's how we do such good business. Like,
yeah, and shout out to your mom, because I know that when she looks at you, because I know I definitely... it's a feeling of pride. A feeling of pride that, you know, that you stand for what your company's lean is. No trusting, like you're very trusted. So shout out to you, for real. I'm gonna give you your flowers because you do, I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's awesome here. It looks absolutely great.
Shout out to moms.
Yeah.
Shout out to moms everywhere. Mom. Don't forget her for Valentine's Day. A lot of people forget moms on Valentine's Day.
If you forget, I'm just saying, kid, where's my son at? Because if you forget you could Valentine's Day, I'm just saying. My son's sick, so hey, he gets a pass. My son has a girlfriend, so I'll be pretty jealous if he doesn't get me something. For real. We're the Mexican moms. So jealous Mexican moms. So coming from your military background, cause you were moving around a lot, you didn't get to keep those strong, you know, relationship with kids your age, but tell me how traveling changed maybe your outlook on life, because you've seen a lot of different places that kids your age probably never.
well, totally. And honestly, yeah, I mean, like, I remember I had this story, like, when I was in Japan, I was playing on this playground, and I remember this was back when we didn't have these plastic playgrounds over here, and they had these bubble plastic playgrounds that were really cool, and I was climbing into it, and I climb over this ridge, and there's this little Japanese boy standing there looking at me, little guy my age, you know, I don't remember how old I was, but he smiled at me big, ear to ear, and his teeth were all black. And it freaked me as fuck out. So I like screamed and got the hell out of there, you know what I mean? And I just think, again, like, it's just, you gotta understand, cultures are different. Everyone's different. Everybody brings these different things to the table, and some things might make you uncomfortable over here, but you gotta kind of not necessarily accept it, but again, give them the benefit of the doubt and just be like, you know, this is their culture. This is how they do things. Let's, you know, they say when in Rome type of deal, you know? So when you go to these different places, try to be comfortable with that culture. I know a lot of times, you know, people travel to different places like France, for instance, and they'll say like, oh, France, you know, people are mean in France if you don't, you know, learn French. And I get it, you know what I mean? I get it. Like if you're going to be in somebody's land, like you should at least try. Like you should learn a little bit of French, like enough to get by. But like, I love travel.
It's like respect the culture. Still what I mean? Respect the culture. When people come here from out of, you know, state, out of country, you always catch them using their LA slang or dressing their LA ways. You know, like they come and they respect the culture.
Absolutely.
So that I think that big too, to learn at a young age, because then that helped you later in your life, right?
Absolutely. Well, the trip is too, like the things like the way that we speak to each other and we think it's fine. Like this is Cali, this is how we talk to each other, right? But like I was in London and they're like, and like, you're from California, right? Yeah. Yeah, bro. But they're like, you guys have a very, you know, strong California accent, you know, and it's really cool. It's really cool that we have.
I feel like, what? They said look at they, like, you got a strong accent.
No, exactly. But then again, that's important. That's really important why you should travel too, because just the different way people speak, the different way people interact with each other. It's funny how different it is, but how similar it is at the same time. Like we all really want the same things. We all do the same things, which is why I think in this time, like 2025, like it's real important that we have these connections, because I really believe that it is all divine, you know what I mean? And we are all brothers and sisters, and that we all should be coming from a place of love first. And we shouldn't be fighting anymore. We shouldn't have wars anymore. We shouldn't have all this craziness that's going on, because we all know that now. The world's so small. It is one race. That's a human race. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what traveling does for you too. I'll tell you that right now. It really makes you feel like you're a part of it.
Opens your mind.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like Hawaii. I consider Hawaii more my hometown than Cali, because there was so much what they call aloha out there. You know what I mean? That love for the soul of not just you, but the earth and everything, and that gratitude and acceptance and bringing people together. I think that's why we got along so well with all our Hawaiian brothers and sisters.
And they're connected, you know, they're so connected just to the planet, and that's how we should be.
And do you travel this as a child or in a boat?
Yeah. I was like, and that guy, I was over there from like the 3rd grade to like the 6th grade. I think I lived in Hawaii. We moved back in '92 when I moved to Cali. So, but yeah, lived there a long time. I loved it. We used to go to the beach all the time. And my godfather married a Hawaiian girl back in the 70s. And so we used to kick with all the locals. We'd go to all the local beaches, go to all the little local parties and all that. So we never were treated like howlies, which is like outsiders. We were all
Let's take all
locals. Yeah. Out. So I had a really, really beautiful experience out there. I loved it. I still love going to Hawaii all the time.
Oh, wow. Have you gone recently?
You know, the last time I went, my godfather passed away. Unfortunately, we went last year, and honestly, it was beautiful. He was the only Mexican in charge of a canoe team. They say he's the only Mexican in charge of he was like the lead guy in the canoe team. So they paddled out. We all paddled out, and then they threw lays in the water. And then a lot of people were jumping off the canoe, so I jumped off the canoe, swam in the water and stuff. It was a real good way to honor my godfather. But that was the last time I went. Oh my God, it was so beautiful. That was on tape.
Honorable.
Absolutely. I mean, growing up, I remember we'd go out canoeing. He would take me out there, and there's like what's called an outrigger on a canoe. It's like this little thing to balance the canoe, and I would hold on to it as a kid, and I'd be like surfing, holding on while they're paddling. Just so many good memories there. Like honestly, so many good.
Your childhood sounds like, man, like you had beautiful childhood. Like, what was your early adult life like?
So, I mean, I joined the Marine Corps right after high school. So I did kind of follow in my dad's footsteps, you know, and that was like my first, I think, win in life was I was a combat illustrator in the Marine Corps. It was 46-11 was the MOS code. And there was only 85 of us in the Marine Corps at the time. And you had to submit like a 20-page portfolio to headquarters Marine Corps. And they have to say, oh, yeah, you're good enough to be an illustrator, right? So I fresh out of high school, I was 17 at the time. I made this portfolio. It was probably the best portfolio I ever made at the time. And it took 6 months for them to get back to me. And finally, I got this call saying, you know, yeah, we'd love to have you as a Marine, you know, as a illustrator. I was like, oh my God, like blown away. It was one of my first biggest accomplishments. And
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you so much, you know. And then I've been with my wife since high school. We're high school sweethearts. And then she's always been there for me, thank God. But
Awesome.
yeah, I went to MOS school, which is like a school for basically illustration for the Marine Corps. And I graduated top of my class, which is awesome. So I got to choose my duty station. I said you could either do Karyna, Hawaii, which is where I already was, which I was telling all those good childhood memories were, or I could do 29 Palms, California, which is in the desert way out there. And they let me choose. And honestly, anybody in their right mind would have chose Hawaii. Anybody in their right mind. But I was in love, and I'm still in love, thank God. But I was in love with my wife, and I said, I'm going to stay close to home because I knew she wants to be close to home. And so I gave up Hawaii for her. And the dude that was like the second in the class was like, oh my God, you're okay. I thought I was going to our Palms. It's so, yeah, he was pretty great.
And that's cool because you stood out of love and it gave someone else the opportunity to go to Hawaii that thought he was one.
See, it goes back to going. That's your parents that taught you that unconditional love to do that, and that's what that's awesome. Shout out to wifey.
But that's important. It's important what you value, you know what I mean? And it's important to stand on what you value, the things that are important to you, you know, like
They're so young there.
yeah, and I was so young, but I knew it was important. You know what I mean? I knew like a strong woman, my mother, like my grandmother, it's very important to grow a strong family, you know? And then even after college, like I went to art school after I got out of the Marine Corps, and I was thinking about staying in LA and kind of doing the LA thing and being the LA artist. But I talked to my wife and she really wanted me to come back. And even my professors were like, I was like, yeah, I'm going to go back to Oceanside. And they're like, what are you going to do in Oceanside? Who's going to be in Oceanside? I'm like, well, I'm going to be in Oceanside. So I ain't tripping. Either way, I'm going to be there. And so I kind of gave up that LA life to be with my wife again. And now we have 4 beautiful kids. You know, they're really good kids. And I stuck with the tattooing the whole time. Like in the Marine Corps, I was tattooing. In college, I was tattooing. And then finally, I jumped full force in, got my first tattoo bus, which was the body art bus. And we were doing private parties, special events, killing it, having a great time. And then a friend of mine who actually opened this shop, her name's Deja, and she wanted to sell this shop at the time. And I was like, dude, you shouldn't sell this shop. But if you do, I will buy it, you know? And so I ended up getting this shop, which
Keep falling in love again.
right? And this shop, I've had it for so long, and this shop's it's an amazing shop. It's in a great location. We have an amazing crew. It's a beautiful thing, and it's led to another bus. I bought another bus, and then that bus and this shop and that bus. I have another shop in Oceanside now. So it's just like all good things, you know?
Shout out to Deja.
Shout out David. Yeah, absolutely.
So with that story, is there a moment, you know, because, you know, the podcast is called Divine Connections. Is there a moment that you realized, like, how everything was just so connected divinely for you that you knew this was meant for you in your alignment? Did you, like, is there a moment that there was like an aha moment, like, this is meant for me, this is my path? Can you recall, like,
It seemed like he juggled it so well, right?
yeah, like, so I'm just curious if there was like I'm gonna do tattooing, this is it. I know you've been doing it, but when was the decision that you were just like, because you said at first you didn't want to?
Yeah, it wasn't like I didn't want to. It was just, I never thought that it was going to be my thing.
There you go.
My first opportunity to get into the game, my first like apprenticeship, the dude ended up ODing on heroin. And so it was like a bad vibe to me. And I was like, oh, well, I'm not going to do heroin. I don't want to do heroin. I never met.
And it's common in the tattoo industry, right?
Back then, early on, like in the 90s, it was very, very common. A lot of people.
Well, heroin was like the thing.
Was the thing. Yeah. So that's why I kind of like put a wall up, and I was like, well, that's not for me. But finally I started, you know, doing these different shows. And again, when I was in the Marine Corps, I was working as a tattooer in my barracks. I was tattooing guys in my barracks. And I would go to these shows with all these different artists. And like we were guest spotting with this shop called American Tattoo in 29 Palms. And we'd go to shows and I'd meet people, and I found out like, oh yeah, not all these people are heroin addicts. Not all these people are crazy. Everybody's different. Most tattoo shops are mom and pop shops, do their own thing, you know? And I started working for different artists. And honestly, sometimes the bad is what is truly your inspiration. Yeah, because I worked for somebody that was an alcoholic. The dude ended up getting murdered, like bad situation. People OD'd at that shop. And I started seeing this. I worked for guys that were tweakers, like full on tweakers, like they found their pipes in the autoclave, you know what I mean? Like, oh, what the hell is it?
These are places that you worked before you owned your own shop, right? Like, these are experiences.
And that didn't make you quit at all?
Well, I'm telling you, I think in my mind, I said, if these
Re-navigate.
like if these fools can run shops, if these fools can be successful in this game,
You know you
then oh come on, I got this. And so that was kind of that aha moment where it was like, dude, not only do I got this, but I can make it my own. I can make it my path. I can do my thing. Whatever that is, it's gonna be mine. And again, and it's gonna come from that place of love, that place of God. Except I would from a good family where I went through all the sacraments, you know, raised Catholic and all that. And so I've always felt guided by God. I always have, and I always try to keep that in my heart and in my mind, anything I do every day. And so, honestly, I finally just said, okay, God, I got it. This is for me. Because it's like that.
I mean, people get this misconception that alignment means everything going great, you know, and even in that sense, it seemed all bad, but it literally aligned you to your right path, and you have to oversee like your perception of what it could really be, because anybody else would have been like, hell no, this is, as much as it seems as it's not for you, it really is your calling, you know what I mean? You can. Awesome.
And honestly, I came to a place where even after I had my bus and I had this shop, I had an artist that was like tried to commit suicide, and there was a bunch of really bad things that were happening. And I thought about selling this shop. I thought about selling my bus. I said, you know what, maybe this isn't for me, right? And I got a phone call from this woman who's a really good family friend. She was actually in the Marine Corps with my mom, and she was trying to sell me prepaid legal. I don't know if you know what prepaid legal is, but it's like a prepaid rate every month, and you have legal services per lawyer. And I told her, I don't think I'm going to do it because I'm going to sell my business anyway. I don't need it. She was, why? And I was like, tell her what was going on. And she was, Joey, you know what? I want to tell you something. Like, I never told you this because we're really close family friends, but you have so many gifts and so many blessings that are beyond your art, that are beyond what I think you use daily. And she goes, I think that you're in that place because you're the right person to be in that place to help those people, even though it seems like a bad. And it was like God told me that.
Yeah.
It was like straight up like, yeah, it was my
the messenger.
straight out, Paula, love ya. But it was like God told me to my face, like, because it was a call.
Doubting yourself.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was really, so again, like all these, I think everybody gets messages from the divine every day.
It seems since the beginning of your story with your unconditional love from your parents, from your why to your journey, you're meant to come into people's lives. You give them a chance, and they could take that stepping stool to take it or not. That's what it sounds like, and that's great. That's what your amazing purpose is. Thank you for being here. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate that. And that's the thing. Like, I don't think I've never known that really until like the more and more I see. I'm 42 now, so it's about time that I knew that. Yeah. And so I am trying to embrace that more, like even with the social media and stuff like that. Like for a long time, I was using social media for business or like helping business and doing things like that. But I really feel like that I have to, like, especially in these kind of dark times that we're in right now, that we really have to spread that light and that love. And so I am trying to go out of my way to do that a little bit more right now, because I feel like no matter what, no matter tattooing, artwork, whatever, my true purpose is to spread that love.
Yeah, especially because you get so one-on-one personal experiences with people that you have. Yeah, that's awesome.
And it's crazy because just our presence, and I don't think we know the value of this, but just our presence can brighten someone's day, can make someone's day from dark to light. You know, we don't know. It can be a simple hello. It can be a simple how you doing. It can be a simple joke. It can be something that was so small to you that maybe you thought was just, you know, your regular self, your regular personality that uplifted someone. And you don't know, maybe they were about to kill themselves that day. Like, you really don't know. And I feel like we help each other, you know, because there's days that, like, even when I don't speak on it, I have bad days and I'm just like, like, I don't want to do nothing anymore. Like, I want to give up everything, you know, because like you were saying, like, maybe it's not for me. But then we realize, you know what? My presence is needed. Like, my friend needs me. My team needs me. The audience needs me. People need to hear what we got to say. And people need to hear everyone's story, because you never know. Like, you could maybe think you have the worst life and maybe someone else has had it worse. You know, maybe you think, you know, you have the worst life, and then you hear someone else's life and you're like, man, that person had a life like me and they're so successful, and how come I'm not doing it too? And now they just want to kick it up a notch.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Even connected. Yeah. Even just your story right now with your experience that you said with the drug abusers, and they still had theirs, you know, that gave me even like, man, I'm a single, I mean, not single mom, but, you know, I have my 3 kids and I can do it too then, man. Damn, if they were doing it, putting their fights in the
It's ridiculous. Yes, ridiculous.
Yeah.
No, I definitely think that's where you're going though, Pepples.
Yeah.
Like, you're on your way. The pipe in the water now.
Yeah.
Wow, Pepples, you're going to the stars. You're gonna be a shop. Also, you know, a owner of a shop one day. You're gonna do your own thing.
Yeah.
Manifest it.
It's in the stars already.
So, cause a lot of questions I had were like, what made you think of the Body by Art bus?
Yeah. Well, so believe it or not, like before I was at a shop, and then same thing with the military. Like I was tattooing out of my barracks room a lot of the time, and then I would get hit up. People wanted to do parties at their house, so we'd go to their house and do parties at their house, which a lot of people call like pop-ups now, you know. Which we don't recommend you do that. You should not do that because you should be fully licensed. You should be monitored. The health department helps you in a lot of ways. It'll let you know what things are. Recalls, which is our ink recall right now, and if you're not a licensed tattooer, you don't know about this ink recall, so you could be tattooing somebody with stuff that's not right, you know. But I was doing all these things, and I could think in my head, like, how can I make this legit? Like, I was making good money. How can I make this legit? And it was like the bus was like the perfect answer. And again, it's like through adversity, because I tried to open a shop in Oceanside, and Oceanside had a moratorium at the time where it was one shop for 50,000 people, and they wouldn't allow me to open a shop. And so the body art bus was my solution. I said, you know what? I'm going to do a bus. I could do private party special events anywhere.
Well, like that's a thing. Like, yeah, so many people like even only have a certain.
Every city is different. So every city has zoning laws. Every city has moratorium laws. Every city is different. Some cities won't allow tattooing at all, or any adult industries at all. You go to some cities that won't have massage parlors. They won't have bars. They won't have liquor stores.
No, that's so with the bus, you could be all legitimized as long as you have the bus with all the proper requirements.
Yeah, well, as long as you're licensed within that county. So, like, you gotta go within the county. So, like, my bus is licensed LA County, San Diego County, Riverside County, Orange County, which...
The bus itself.
The bus itself. So, it's been inspected in all of those counties. And so, I've worked with all those counties to do that. That's good. Now, as long as I'm, like, on private property or I'm doing, like, a private event or something like that, it's fully fine. Now, I were to go, like, on Orange County or... and just... like on Orange and just pull up on the corner and do business, well, then I got to get a business license from that city. So it really just depends on what you're trying to do, what you're trying to create with that business, or where you're trying to go. We got away with doing it because a lot of it is, again, we're in and out. We private party special event on private property where it's not, hasn't been up.
How long did that whole process take?
I mean, it took me about a year just to build the bus, just to get it going, and working with the health department on materials and all that fun stuff.
Oh, okay. It was built. Your bus was completely built.
Oh yeah, we built it. Me and my dad actually. My dad built it. It was crazy. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, very meaningful too.
Oh god, yeah. I'll never hear it.
So with a lot of going off for you, obviously, how do you feel that you've managed to take care of everything, or so creative and so like your ideas with a lot of things? Do you practice mindfulness to keep you like not so stressed at all? Is there something that you can probably share with somebody out there if they're struggling probably with too much on their plate, and what's helped you?
Yeah, how do you manage stress?
Well, I mean, honestly, you kind of touched on it earlier, is you got to have a good team. So having a good team, somebody that's going to back you, that's going to help you when, again, lift you when you're down and all that fun stuff. But mindfulness is very important. So I do meditate. I do try to meditate daily. I try to get my wife to do it because I think there's so many things that are come flash at us now with your phone, with TV, with looking billboards, whatever, that you have to calm your mind down, because if not, when the chips really are on the table and it matters, you're not going to be able to control your...
Yeah, one of the things that I have read, because I like to read, I think it was Think and Grow Rich, or even a lot of the things that show you how to control, like have self-control of things, is meditation. Meditation is really, really important because your mind is racing all the time, and that ease keeps you track of your thoughts, and yeah, it's a great...
Yeah, and I think our thoughts, it's all primal. It's all like fight or flight, where it's like, I got to do this, I'm reacting to that, I'm reacting to this. And so those are the things that mindfulness helps you control, because if not, your primitive brain, it always wants to react in a certain way. I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this, I got to do that. When the mindfulness calms that down, it trains your brain to say, hold on, I don't have to go crazy right now. I can be calm. I can wait and make a choice. Because a lot of times, like, you get an issue with somebody, or something happens that is out of your control. If you react too quickly, that's when you can make mistakes. Whereas if you're calm and you wait a little bit, you think about it, then you can make the right choice. And that's what life is,
Being irrational.
Yeah, you got to make those choices.
Breath work is good, guys. Yeah, they actually say that that's like scientifically like proven. Like if you stop what you're doing and do like some good breath work, your anxiety will stop.
100%. Yeah, no, so again, that's what all mindfulness is focusing on your breathing, deep breaths. Deep breath in and deep breath out, and just do that for or more, or you can half minute with us, or you that. That also helps. I'm just breathing, right? Just breathing. Absolutely. But it definitely helps. It does.
So, you telling us like about your beautiful childhood, and then you went to the Marine Corps yourself, and then you became a tattoo shop owner, and you got your own bus legitimized. Like, what about now? What's life like right now, and what goals do you have for yourself in the next 5 years?
So we have our own tattoo convention now, which is INKCON, Trusted Tattoo Gathering. We've had 2 years in a row, 23, 24, which I just wanted to get bigger and bigger, do more and more things. Our show is already sold to be one of the best tattoo conventions in California because we're bringing like all the OGs in, we're bringing quality artists, and we're making it more like a real tattoo convention, not like these ones that are around right now. We like to say it's by tattooers for tattooers, you know. And really that's my focus right now. I definitely like to just keep growing the business, you know, hiring more people, growing the brand, but we really are focused on that convention being, you know, the best.
One of the biggest ones.
I've heard of that one. Oh,
It's a good one. It's a good show. It's a really good show.
I also seen that you have like some art classes on Wednesdays and stuff. So I just wanted to tell the audience maybe someone out there can utilize that.
Yeah, we have a drawing club at the Trusted Tattoo Gallery in Oceanside, and we basically bring in a figure model and we all just draw the figure. It's really good training as an artist. It really builds up your hand-eye coordination, and I like to tell people to draw is to see. So if you can see it, you should be able to draw, you know, but that takes time and that takes energy. You know, they say the 10,000 hours rule, you know. And so it's just good training, and it's just a good time. And we help guide you if you need any guidance. But we have some really good artists in there. I mean, it impresses the shit out of me. I'm looking at their work. I'm just like, oh, man.
it's so cool that you're doing that. Yeah, she actually sent it to me.
Yeah.
And she's like, you can try that out. I'm like, oh, yeah.
You should. It's a good time.
Then my daughter, she draws really, really good, too.
Awesome.
And I will most definitely take the issue.
And I think it's a great opportunity that people should take to even pick your brain, Kevez, you know, because you're so talented and skilled, and you got a lot of things going on, very successful in a lot of areas in your life, including at home and in business, that I think it's valuable for us to pick your brain, you know, because we can learn something from you, you know. And I think all tattoo artists, what they want to do is be their best. So, you know, of course you got to learn from the best, be the best.
Yeah, 100%.
Awesome.
100%.
Actually, you even inspired me because your journey itself, that feel like tattooing, because I learned that too. Like, I socialize with people and I have one-on-one with it. And you motivate me even more today. This is awesome. It's very, you share my mindfulness too with people. So thank you so much. Hey, well, look at you.
Yeah, and it's a blessing. It's a blessing. But again, remember, we are all connected, you know. And so that's the thing. Like, even with ideas, like we had the bus, like I do those other people doing buses, those other people doing stuff like that, because we're all, you know, maybe divinely connected. Yeah, that we're all one. And so that's the thing. Your motivation is just like mine. My energy that I'm putting out there, you have access to it too. You just gotta want it bad enough. And like, I don't take breaks. Like, that whole like Mamba mentality, that Kobe Bryant shit that he's always talking about. Rest in peace, Kobe. He was on his AK. But I've always done that. I've always felt like it's like a natural thing to me. It's like I have to be. Some people will tell me all the time, like, you're doing too much, and it's like, that's what I do. That's what I do. I do too much. That's the only way I roll. I don't do less. You know, if I do less, I feel guilty. I feel like all these gifts that I've given, if I'm not sharing them and utilizing and doing something with them, then I'm not honoring the gifts and
Yeah.
Before we close out, I want to know something inspirational that you can tell other artists so that they don't give up on their hopes of being a badass tattoo artist one day.
I think something that's very important, and this was a quote from he just passed away, David. Oh man, I forget his last name, but he said he's a director. And I read this book, and I love to read. One, you should read. A lot of people are not reading right now. They're saying, like, I hear these young kids talk about books, and I'm like, books. It's like, dude, the knowledge of the world is in these books. Don't be stupid. But yeah, they're really good. But he basically said, anytime you're inspired to do artwork, anytime you're inspired to work, do artwork, do it. Don't stop. Don't let anything stop you, whether it's something small, whether it's a sketch, whether it's writing down an idea, whether it's, just being inspired to build a fucking sandcastle. I don't care what it is.
Energy movement.
Yeah, when you're inspired to do that, do it. Because then it just prolongs you wanting to do it, and you trains your mind, trains your body to want to work it and make you great.
Well, today's episode was definitely something that everyone can learn from. So please check out the full episode. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget, if you guys are looking for a tattoo, piercings, go ahead and contact Trusted Tattoo Company, Corona and Oceanside. Also, don't forget to check out the INKCON.
INKCON 2026, cousin.
926.
Their link will be at the bottom.
Yes. Thank you guys for joining us on Divine Connections podcast. Catch us on our next episode.